Messianic.
Astute business mind.
No, he was. He was a really smart businessman, and he still is. And the smartest thing that he did was he didn't put himself at the forefront of the company. He got Jim. He got
Jim McEwan.
Jim McEwan, Uncle Jim. Got Jim in, up front, and how did you describe it? Up front and
Personal.
fat, personal. Yeah. But Jim was the face of it. He was the kind of the leading light in it. But Mr. Rainey was the businessman behind it.
I was exactly going to say, absolutely the best feast days that I've known on the island were all Bruichladdich.
Yeah. No, it's a good day out.
Always lucky with the weather for some reason.
Yeah,
well, I think that's Jim McEwan again, isn't it?
He
just got that touch.
He has.
Meteorological.
Well,
because I didn't say it the first time. I just mangled those syllables.
I was thinking more weather than whatever that word was you said.
That's what I was going for, weather.
But he obviously has connections with those on a higher plane.
Oh,
Is our Jimmy? He always has done.
Just get him to do it.
And he bakes his own dog biscuits.
There you go.
That's not much of a credo.
I met him down by the Lily Lock. He was out walking a dog, and I was what he said. Oh, lovely little fella. Can I get my biscuits? He said they're homemade. I'm like, yeah, if you're like wafers, like waffers.
Well,
Jim McEwan though.
I'll tell you. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're not.
Well, I'm used to it.
I usually interrupt him with fucking.
No, you say what you were going to say.
I was just going to say thank you. That's awfully gracious of you. You're pouring the drams. You're telling the story to let me away with one little mention. Jim McEwan, for years that was my first heavy Bruichladdich drinking was Symphony No. 1 years ago.
I've got a bottle of that in the
memories,
house.
You know?
I've got a bottle of that stuff in the house.
Very
somewhere.
easy to drink.
The Symphony No. 1.
Yeah. So anyway, what were you going to say?
No, there's not any more substance to it. But I was going to talk or give you a Jim McEwan story, which involved bad weather about 3 years ago, maybe now. Heather and myself were out in the mainland. We were due to fly back. It was terrible weather. It was a hospital day, so the plane was almost full of locals. So 20 odd Islay people on the plane, and we flew off from Glasgow, and Jim happened to be one of them. We flew off from Glasgow and we got to Islay, and we did the 3 times round. We can't land back to Glasgow. So back to Glasgow we went and landed there, and Logan Air said, "Oh, we're really sorry, but we're sorting you out with another plane and another crew, and we hope to get you home this evening." So we get put onto a bus. We get taken out to one of the gates miles away from the terminal. The plane wasn't even unlocked. It was sitting in darkness. We got on board. They got the thing fired up. They got a bit of heat into it.
That's right.
And the pilot
put the coal in.
The pilot came on to the radio, and he says, good evening. We understand you've had a little bit of trouble tonight. He says, but you've got a good crew looking after you now, and we'll have you home on Islay just as quickly as we possibly can. And we all looked at each other and just went, his arse.
Yeah,
his arse.
Yeah.
So anyway, we took off again. So this is the second time to try and fly to Islay. Across we came. Half an hour later, 3 times round the circle, and back to Glasgow again. Got back to Glasgow airport, and it was shut. There was nobody there at all in the concourse. None of the desks were manned. There was nobody at the Logan. The only person was the Menzies aviation agent in the.
They got a hard life. Dedicated.
They were in the baggage reclaim. Now we'd got our bags. We'd gone out. Not a soul anywhere. Nobody. So we then went back through the door that says, "Do not go through this door ever." And that immediately set off all the alarms. You know, the stormtroopers come in and pounced on us. And this woman from Menzies Aviation came out and she said, "You can't can't do that. You can't go there. No. And we're like, well, bloody get somebody. Because we're back in Glasgow, 20 odd eelicks with nowhere to go. So they kind of got it sorted out. They dragged a Logan heroine in for somewhere, and she booked us some hotel rooms, and she booked taxis and all the rest of it. But meantime, Jim had kind of taken over the organising of everybody to make sure everyone was okay, and he was fantastic, absolutely great at it. And I've always gone so well with Jim, but I saw a new side to him that night, and he just made sure there was people even older than him on that flight, and he made sure they were okay.
He's like 105 years old.
Well, he's
another subtle
he's finally retired this year, you know. Finally retired for the 7th time. But he did a fantastic job getting us all organised, make sure everyone was away the taxis to the hotel, all the rest of it. And we were in the last taxi. There was Heather and myself. There was Ella Edgar, who does the Highland dancing.
Yeah.
Okay, but to put this into some kind of a context, Ella was the Bruichladdich Lillian.
Right.
For about 100 years. So she was the administrator.
She loved that so much.
Half the time as Lillian then.
She was the administrator at Bruichladdich for decades. So she knows the whiskey industry inside out.
Yeah.
And Heather hears me talking about it all the time, and I know a little bit about it. And the last guy in the car is Jim McEwan. So we get into the taxi, Heather, myself and Ella in the back. Jim gets in beside the driver, and we start to aim for the hotel. And here it turns out that the taxi driver is a whiskey expert.
Self-proclaimed or actually?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely self. But
were you all just keeping quiet and let him have his fun?
It was so good. It was so funny. You know, all the things that Jim hadn't learned in his 50 odd years in the industry. This taxi driver was able to fill in those little bits of, you know, those nuggets that he wasn't aware of. We're just sitting in the back, and it was like, you know, coming out our eyes and down our nose. You know what I mean?
Did he ever clue in, the driver?
Jim's eventually kind of said to him,
"Listen, Pet.
Google Jim McEwan. That's me.
That's right.
That's right.
When you get home, that is when you're